In the King of the Beta semifinals, the loser gets to pick the map only. The first one is set. Each player is permitted a downvote, and therefore Grubby's choice of map will be none other than Cloud Kingdom going into game number 2. Down in the bottom left-hand corner, the King of Warcraft 3, now one of the Kings of Protoss, it's Grubby. And up in the top right, a humble, modest man trying to take classes in Austin, Texas right now, trying to say tongue twisters in English, and has himself a modest GSL Codes championship. It's Polt. And, you know, one of the real things I admire about Polt is the fact that he does have such a unique style, and always has had such a unique style. It's so easy to, I mean, honestly, as someone who doesn't get to play StarCraft as much as I would like, it's so easy to watch what most of the good players are doing and just to copy it. If I were to start playing Terran, I'd probably just go for 1 barracks, early expand, try to improve on my Marine Marauder medevac pushes, get better reads, control the center of the map. All the standards. But Polt, opting for his own unique builds, throwing in Widow Mines, pulling right back to the Marine Marauder medevac style. In my eyes, Polt has the best mid-game aggression of any Terran player in the non-mirror matchups. Just uses so many Marauders against Terran and Zerg. It's just so brutal to deal with. Of course, the real problem is that if you can swat aside most of Polt's mid-game attacks, he's behind on upgrades, doesn't have Marines. Marines tend to be a little bit better in terms of the brunt damage output, but the Marauders, if it's in small numbers, they're better, just due to the fact that you have the concussive shell and you can kite so easily with them. So, in other words, I mean, Marauders are kind of like the Roach of Terran. If you get maxed in TVP with mostly Marauders, you're gonna have a bad time. And of course, there's many Terran players out there who have nightmares about late-game Immortals, Speed Zealots, Archons. Even the Colossus becomes a huge pain in the butt, but that's right, in both of your butts. That's where the pain is, especially when you have too many Marauders late game. But Polt is able to stay in mid-game, flooding with Marauders, also a style employed largely by 4GG. Another fast Reaper play coming out of Polt. Huh. Either way right now, very early second gas. Cybernetics core wrapping up. Would not be surprised to see that very swift Mothership core right out of Grubby's main. And nope, it's going to be Stalker, Warp Gate, and then soon to be Mothership core. Or, you know what? Forget everything I said. If Grubby goes for a Stargate and beats Polt, I will laugh. I will throw my head back and giggle because this is exactly what Minigun did to Polt to take a win. Oh, there's the expand. Oh! No way! Oh, the Stargate play. I would give credit to White Ra for popularizing this general style, opening up with a very proxied Stargate at this early stage. A single Stalker can easily defend that against the Marine threats that are hurled against it, and then you get a fast Oracle for the fast travel distance right into the Terran Natural. Now, you might say, well, what about a very nearly excellent scout from Grubby winds up with that just popping straight into his base? And you might say, well, what if the Terran decides to go mega aggro at the start? No big deal. We opened with a very, very fast Oracle, so we can deal with that just fine. So Polt right away is going to go, uh-oh, something spooky's coming. If I were in Polt's shoes, this first mine would go right at the back, and yes, it looks like Polt is anticipating air. He's going to be taking straight to that starport. He's not going to do any shenanigans where he gets any extra add-ons. He knows he needs every unit he can get. Engineering Bay would not be a bad idea right now. Grubby continuing to scout around, just make sure that there's nothing too awry. And in fact, he's covering the whole map. He needs to make absolutely certain that nothing scouts this, that he has a complete vision lockdown, and it looks like that's exactly what he has. Polt has almost no vision of anything in the middle of the map. Polt's loading up this bunker, starting to get the reactor on the barracks. Uh-oh. Uh-oh for 2 reasons. 1, this is going to be a really difficult defense. 2, I'm going to sneeze. Yes, yes, excellent. I'm allergic to tense situations in Terran versus Protoss. Grubby's just doing some monitoring at the front. needs 2 Void Rays to really bring the noise. Stalkers are essential for picking off the few SCVs that begin the repair job, so that way the prismatic core Void Rays can take it down. The 1 sentry is enough for a single Guardian shield. This is going to be a little bit of a pain, but that's okay. The probe can just dart right in. Look at this excellent clicking by Grubby. Eats the shot in full, and here comes the push. Will he use it for a Guardian shield? He will. No messing around with force fields. Yeesh, that falls fast. Oh my gosh, Grubby storms right in the exact way that Minigun stormed the front. 2 Widow Mines burrow at the front. Keep in mind there is that frontal Widow Mine that could be a problem. Looks like the Stalker will dart right on in. Does not get double picked by the mine. Grubby may very well pull back. Try to secure the kill. Widow Mine still doing some nice work. Will we be able to actually pick off this orbital command? That would be a big win. Oh, the Widow Mines continue to do a lot of damage. This Widow Mine is almost done recharging, and it looks like Grubby can't decide whether to stay in or go out. He needs to make a decision fast because that Widow Mine's about to pop up, and it looks like it will nail one of those Stalkers, and Polt's actually doing an impressive job of staying alive. And I mean, the orbital command is floating, but it is still alive. If Grubby ends up being repelled, Polt will actually be in somewhat fine shape. Prismatic alignment enabled. We'll be taking out the factory. Nope, SCVs make themselves vulnerable though. The factory falls. Mine still doing massive work. One-shotting a lot of important things. Void Ray still stands strong though. Would love to see those pull back and pick off the command center, because right now Grubby still really does not have an economic lead. I mean, there are 2 orbital commands on the map. This orbital could land and continue muling. Grubby needs to be so careful. He's just loitering in range of all these Widow Mines. He kills the stim, which means he's bought himself time. That's more of a defensive play. More Zealots swinging in. Still, I mean, Polt's just mining from this southern expansion. And with these 2 Widow Mines here, it looks like Polt is actually stabilized. You can always tell. If the Protoss has decided he's in a bad situation. Because all of a sudden, you'll start to see him begin building those probes again, going, uh-oh. Uh-oh, there's the uh-oh. It looks like I actually am not about to win this game, and I better get that robo facility up. So that way I can actually stay alive. Need to get that detection going. Oracle now coming out. We'll run right by this expansion. Polt, so bold, moving right out. There is a little bit of harassment happening in his base, though. Gosh, Polt caught between a rock and a hard place. Has to just... I almost wanted to say Chrono Boost the medevac to get out of there, but there's Grubby stepping right on, and he spots it. He sees he's been spotted. The Oracle will move all the way around, and it looks like it will be an Envision. And there's the mine starting to fall. Oh no! The Void Ray falls, and it looks like mine number 2 may very well fall as well. No. Target fire picking off the Marauder right away. Envision still enabled. 30 seconds remaining. Detection working very nicely. Continuing to do the scouting. Continue to do the poking. If he gets the orbital command, that would be huge. That would be huge. SCV is being pulled to try to repair it. Will it get there in time? No! Grubby now has the clear lead. The worker deficit able to be offset by mules. Not a chance now. Grubby, intense micro situation. How many workers does he have? I mean, right now, Grubby, sitting at 29 workers, needs to begin getting his expansion up. I mean, he can pick away at these units all he wants, but, I mean, Polt will slowly begin getting an edge as he gets more medevacs, as the stim, the combat shields, ends up wrapping up. I mean, at this point, Grubby actually has no power units. The power units really being the Colossus and the Templar, the Immortal being somewhat of a power unit. Power unit meaning that it can deal with big masses of that Terran Bio Ball really well. I mean, right now, momentum is slowly starting to build for Polt, and Grubby actually has to play a little bit of catch-up in his base. Twilight Council's an interesting choice. Makes sense given the emphasis on Stalkers in the early game. With all the Stalkers built up, does have the ability to get that blink and deal with the somewhat smaller numbers of units plus the Medivacs. I mean, a lot of Protosses in Grubby's shoes would say, okay, well, given that I've done all this damage early on, he can't have a lot of Marine Marauder. What he can really have is some Marine Marauder, and it's mainly drops that'll kill me. So I just need to make sure that I'm good versus drops, and therefore they'll go for the blink, even though it's not quite as strong a DPS unit as the Zealot. Oracle thinking about moving in. Looks like Dark Shrine is the choice for Grubby. Another interesting move. Oracle speeds right in, gets 1, 2, 3 kills. How many more will it get? Looks like 5's coming up. All the Marine Marauder pulling back. Starts to target fire the Tech Lab. Has to hightail it. Has to get out of there. Picks up one more SCV on his way out. Almost scared to open this up. Ugh, 39 workers killed off right now by Grubby, but in the Army tab we see that Polt is really not that far behind, and these are not the best units for dealing with this sort of pressure. A lot of Stalkers out on the field, but again, Blink really, really must be the next research choice for Grubby. He can't afford to get Zealot legs. He just doesn't have the Zealot count. And how will he make use of these Stalkers? I mean, right now, drops can happen at all sorts of angles. Oracle's going to swing in. Oh! Actually gets all the Marines. Now ripping up more SCVs. Has to pull out. Mothership Core in production for Grubby. First Mothership Core of the game. Where will be that Blink? Blink must come out soon if he wants to hope to deal with potential large drop aggression. Where are the Dark Templar? Oh, Grubby's starting to move down. One swipe and Polt might know he's done. And there the DT's starting to work away. Medivacs being produced one at a time. There is the engineering bay. Oh, wow. Polt, does he have it in him? Can he micro this situation well enough? Looks like Grubby split himself up, picks off one of the DTs, and now as the rest of Grubby's units join in, it's time for the force fields to get thrown down. All the Protoss units giving it chase. Some nice kiting micro by Polt, but the natural expansion's under duress from a single Dark Templar. And now Polt trying to pick off every single one of these Zealots. Medivacs fall, though. There's no hope for retreat. And there's the time bomb. Oh, Grubby will stutter step his way forward, and even though it wasn't the air attack that won the game, it gave him the huge edge he needed. Right now, Polt hanging out at 23 supply as Grubby is comfortably up at 71, and is stepping forward with a very non-Stargate army. Immortals, Dark Templar, Stalkers, couple of Zealots, and of course, the Mama ship to boot. Polt will do the charge straight into his death, and there's the good game. Grubby puts himself on the map, tying the series up in this semi-final. As we go into Game 3, it will be Polt's choice of map, and he's going to have to make sure he does a little bit more aggressive scouting next. Online builds do have their vulnerabilities. Stay tuned. Coming up with Game 3 after this.